Hello, I'm Lara Kochar-San and this is Newsfeed. In this episode, we're looking at travel disruptions ahead of the summer rush, from health scares to airline collapse to long waits at airports. And a global icon marks a milestone. David Attenborough turns 100.
We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people. People with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. So if you're seeing coverage about this, just remember that there are real people behind it, and that this isn't something happening somewhere far away. It's happening to us.
Could this be the start of another global health scare, or are fears running ahead of the facts? An expedition cruise ship has been left stranded with around 150 passengers on board. That's after 3 people reportedly died from Hantavirus. 29 passengers from around 12 countries left the ship on April 24th. At the time, 1 person had died, but the cause was unknown. The first confirmed case of Hantavirus was not reported until May 4th. There are 8 confirmed or suspected cases linked to the ship Hantavirus. People usually become infected through contact with infected rodents or their droppings. Human-to-human transmission is considered rare. While there are more than 20 types of the virus, only the Andes strain can be passed among humans.
This is the MV Hantavirus, an expedition cruise ship owned and operated by Oceanwide Expeditions. And the route went from Argentina through Antarctica and the South Atlantic, with stops in South Georgia and Tristan da Cunha and St. Helena, all before heading towards Cape Verde.
The first person to pass away was a man with his wife on the cruise ship.
One of our passengers sadly passed away last night. I'm told by the doctor we're not infectious, so the ship is safe when it comes to this.
On April 25th, she flew with his body after he passed away with this, from St. Helena all the way to Johannesburg in South Africa. She started getting very bad symptoms and deteriorating on the flight, collapsed in the airport, passed away the next day. They test her body, she has Hantavirus. Now, WHO is extensively trying to contact trace the 82 passengers that were on the same exact flight with her.
The Andes strain is mostly found in Argentina and Chile. The World Health Organization says the virus may spread through very close person-to-person contact. The incubation period, meaning the time between infection and symptoms appearing, is usually around 2 to 3 weeks, but in some cases can stretch up to 8 weeks.
This viral infection can make people very sick, and depending on the strain and where it's coming from, can lead to basically 2 distinct clinical entities. One that comes from Europe and Asia can be a hemorrhagic fever with kidney involvement, and the other from the Americas could be more pulmonary involvement, leading to flu-like symptoms and respiratory failure. We have known about Hantavirus for many years and have a better understanding of its characteristics compared to back in 2020 when SARS-CoV-2 was a novel virus. The Andes strain that is known to potentially cause human-to-human transmission has not caused large outbreaks. The largest one was recorded in a small village in Argentina in 2018 to 2019, where there were only 34 cases reported. Secondary attack rate in general in a household is about 3.4% compared to 20% for SARS-CoV-2. In order for Hantavirus to typically spread from human to human, it needs to be through very close contact, like sexual intercourse, which is generally not required for a virus like SARS-CoV-2 or influenza. Now, obviously, there's always a possibility that a virus could mutate and behave differently, but there's no evidence of something like this happening at this time.
Argentina is investigating whether it is the source of a deadly Hantavirus outbreak linked to the cruise ship, with health officials tracing where infected passengers traveled before boarding Ushuaia. Officials believe the first victim from the ship likely caught the virus during a birdwatching trip in Patagonia. The region has a known history of Hantavirus. Experts say the virus can take weeks to show symptoms, meaning the infection probably occurred before the cruise began, not on board or at any other island stop.
Dear passengers going to Columbus on flight 546, your flight has now been canceled.
Currently stuck in the Orlando airport, trying to get home. The only flight that I could afford, to be honest, was a Spirit flight heading home. We're supposed to leave at 5 o'clock. I get to the airport on time, and then I check the news, and Spirit announced that they are shutting down.
Can we get a refund? And I need to go
canceled hundreds of people's flights.
The demise of Spirit Airlines is being described as the airline industry's first real casualty of the war with Iran. Now, to be fair, the airline had already filed for bankruptcy twice before, and it failed to secure funding for a government-backed rescue. But the war was the final blow. When the conflict disrupted shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, it did not just affect crude oil. It affected everything refined from it, including jet fuel. So when crude prices rise or supply is disrupted, jet fuel becomes more expensive and harder to access. And that matters because fuel is one of the biggest costs for any airline. On average, it makes about a quarter of operating expenses. So when prices spike, airlines feel it immediately, especially the weaker ones. And in this case, that airline was Spirit.
I come to say goodbye.
Where are you going?
It's on a little trip.
Charlie, will I ever see you again?
Sure you will, kid. You know, goodbyes aren't forever.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began.
So we've been in the air since 1983. What is that? 43 years. And unfortunately, that's over. So thank you for your support over the years. And onward and upward, right?
I made a website. It's called letsbuyspirit.com. And we're going to try and, I guess, buy Spirit Airlines.
You may be wondering why people are getting emotional over the death of an airline. At its peak, Spirit accounted for around 5% of all US flights. Its entire model was built around cheap fares, no extras, no checked bags, no seat selection. Now, that may sound terrible, but it actually helped keep ticket prices low by forcing competitors to stay competitive. In the short term, Spirit's rivals are stepping in, offering discounted fares to affected passengers. But in the longer term, less competition could mean higher ticket prices. And if fuel prices stay high, more airlines could come under pressure. Flight cancellations and seat cuts are already dominating headlines.
My November holiday has been cancelled. Not July, not August, November. Airlines across Europe are cutting flights left, right and centre. These cancellations, they're stacking up fast. Lufthansa has scrapped 20,000 flights through October. KLM has cancelled over 100 European flights in May alone. Virgin, EasyJet, Ryanair, they've all warned of disruptions.
And flight cancellations are not the only problem for travellers. If you're a non-EU citizen traveling soon to the Schengen zone, which is most of Europe, listen up.
As of April 10th, there is a new entry-exit system that's been rolled out in the airports. First time you land in a Schengen zone airport, you don't just go through normal passport control. They will now direct you to a self-service kiosk. Here, the screen will guide you to first scan your passport, then your face, and then it'll take your fingerprints. Once that's done, you have now created a digital border profile, and you don't have to do this part again. Next, you will do all of these three things again at the actual new border system, and then you're good to go.
At some European airports, passengers are reportedly waiting up to 5 hours at border control, and hundreds of passengers have missed their flights because of it. The delays are being linked to the European Union's new entry-exit system. Industry groups warn the situation could get worse. The Airports Council International says in the coming weeks, and especially over the peak summer period, the system could become unmanageable.
I understand the most important place on Earth is not on land, but at sea.
Through the course of my life, we have been on a voyage of ocean discovery. Only now are we understanding what it means for the future of our world. What we have found could change everything.
For once you've truly seen the sea, you'll never look at Earth in the same way again.
Few voices are as recognizable in environmental storytelling as his. And this voice belongs to David Attenborough, who has turned 100.
I am David Attenborough. I've had the most extraordinary life. It's only now that I appreciate how extraordinary.
I've been lucky enough to spend my life exploring the wild places of our planet. I've traveled to every part of the globe. I've experienced the living world firsthand in all its variety and wonder. In truth, I couldn't imagine living my life in any other way. I've always had a passion to explore, to have adventures.
In a statement, he said he had hoped to spend his centenary quietly, but his fans had other ideas. After a week-long celebration on the BBC, festivities end on Friday with a concert at the Royal Albert Hall in London. And it is not just the natural world he has brought to life. He has also lived through a century of extraordinary change.
He is older than Anne Frank and Martin Luther King. He was born before the discovery of antibiotics. He was a teenager before the concept of teenagers was even a thing. He couldn't have had nachos until he was an adult because they hadn't been invented yet. He wasn't at Woodstock because he was already in his 40s then. Not only could he recall man walking on the moon for the first time, his children would be able to recall it. He has been alive for the discovery of Pluto as a planet and the delisting of Pluto as a planet. He is literally older than sliced bread.
How remarkable that one man has lived through so much and shaped the world so significantly in a single lifetime. And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.